Now come closer, let me tell you something. There's this growing trend where people are going for a very long time without being in contact or in touch with people who previously they were joined together as family, loved ones, etc. And some of the factors that are contributing to such incidences is, for example, toxicity, being mentally, physically, emotionally, even spiritually, even financially, like abuse is a very lengthy word that could be explored in various shapes and forms and frames as well. So Oprah Winfrey had a sit down on her podcast, and it was interesting because some of the participants in the podcast included both millennials, Gen Zs, and parents who have completely gone for years without being in contact or hearing from the people they consider blood. Now, I just want to read to you an excerpt and then I'll give you my honest thoughts and sentiments. So just before this from Yahoo News, it said just before a major holiday, Oprah's episode about going no contact is causing backlash. Here's why some say it missed the mark. All right. Winfrey spoke about the topics as a shifting cultural conversation, noting in her Instagram caption about the podcast that around one third of Americans have cut off ties from their family. People are now redefining what healthy boundaries look like in family dynamics. Okay. And then, so what Oprah said about going no contact, although she positioned the episode as an exploration with experts, adult children who have cut off their parents have been estranged. Many viewers said her approach felt incomplete. As her podcast circulated, people online questioned the way she presented no contact decision as a broader trend rather than a personal boundary that shaped by lived experiences. Oprah described no contact as something once considered a taboo, but now openly discussed by people of all ages. Commenters noted that she framed the subject as a social shift. However, several listeners felt she didn't fully address why people make these choices in the first place. Okay. Although she insisted the episode offered a wide range of perspectives, including her parents who had pushed their children away, critics argued that this framing softened the reality of abuse, neglect, and unresolved conflict. Okay. Moreover, the idea of rebranding no contact as a cultural movement didn't land as she seemed to expect. Even though she spoke about boundaries, viewers believed that her tone treated the issue as a conversation starter rather than an important mental health topic. Okay. Now, some of the feedback and reactions to this article, some of the people on X users agreed with Oprah's interest in the discussion. Somebody quote unquote wrote, Oprah really knocking on an important door right now, talking about families and no contact. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Others pushed back. For example, this one said, I hate Oprah. I'd give anything. I tried everything to have a relationship with my dad when there's no accountability, no apologies, and narcissistic behavior. It's impossible if he apologized and understood, grasped the issues that had upset me. I'd try again, but he doesn't even try. I feel your pain because that's intense for sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. Another user said, pointed out timing of the podcast list just before a major holiday. Of course, Christmas. People are just about to go. And so others said on TikTok, creators posted satirical texts and more intense critiques. Or rather, this one delivered a long message addressing Oprah directly, calling her a rat, a grifter, while revisiting complaints about her past public efforts and relationships. Mm. Others accused Oprah Winfrey of gaslighting her audience and described the podcast as a grift and scam. Well, my honest thoughts and opinion on this article, rather than that whole podcast, I actually watched an excerpt of it. That podcast episode has over 1 million views on YouTube. And I'm going to do another interesting topic as well that Oprah Winfrey just tackled about men. But let me give you my honest thoughts and sentiments about this. I don't think no contact is a trend. I like to view it as people being awakened and people being conscious and aware of the things they can put up with and those that they can't, especially from the people they consider family, because uh, we come from places and backgrounds where some of us have had to put up with a lot of nasty behavior, nasty, abusive behavior that, I'd say, disenfranchised us, disempowered us, gave us the mentality and the attitude of pain, being used and subjected to pain for a very long time, that we carry that DNA of pain and suffering in our adult life. But now that you know better, your mindset has changed, you've grown and you have healed, you can literally take care of yourself without being in contact with the same people who took you through the most indescribable, unfathomable pain that you wouldn't wish it not even on your worst enemy, especially by people called family or blood. Well, let me give you an example. When I was 5, my mom removed herself from the equation, and so I was handed over to my maternal grandparents. Before now, I later on ended up in my paternal grandparents in home state. There's this uncle who's the brother to my mom. He hated me, so he made it his business to torture me every day. He'd starve me. He tortured me until I got kwashako and marasmus. And this is because my maternal grandmother would prepare food and she'd go to the marketplace and my uncle would take the food, eat it, beat me and lock me out of the house. And he'd do it daily, daily until I acquired kwashako. So one day, one evening, when grandma had just come from the marketplace, she was at the fireplace preparing dinner and she had served me hot soup. I believe it was fish fillet or something. And the uncle came home drunk. He came straight up to the table and overturned the bowl of soup, and the soup spilled. In fact, I still have a burnt wound right here, a burn wound on my stomach, on my underbelly. I still have it. And this dude would beat the hell out of me every day. So imagine I'm grown up and I have to still keep in contact with such a person. Of course, you're dead to me. No, I forgive you and I forgive myself because I was helpless. I didn't know better, but you can never be allowed to be in contact with me again. Will that justify that it's a bad thing? Heck no. And so I advocate for people to cut off anyone who's toxic, anyone who put you through sexual abuse. I can imagine you being a child and you're being sexually taken advantage of by an uncle, a cousin, or a neighbor, and now you have to be in contact with them because you're an adult now. Heck no. Cut them off. They are dead to you. And I advocate for families to cut off toxic family members, even those practicing witchcraft, those blaming you for things that, those putting burdens on you that you shouldn't carry. Bro, delete, block, forget. If God has given you life and you still have your 2 hands, your mouth, your brain, your legs, don't get stuck on stupid. Move, move and let them be. If they also have a brain and legs, they can work on their shit. So don't carry nobody's burdens. If they abused you, used you, dumped you, made you feel worthless, then they don't deserve you. It doesn't matter if you're twins, your blood, your angels, you came from whatever, cut them off. That will help you to heal. It will give you time and space to heal, reconnect with yourself, parent yourself. That's something I'm still doing, parenting myself. Having growing up without no mom, my biological mom, and those experiences that everything that happened till today, no, I can never give you even a single thought. So I advocate for people to disconnect totally. But what shocks me is parents. Parents should not cut off their children. You did not write a letter to be born in that family. You did not request to be with those toxic aunties. You did not request to be with that uncle. You did not request to be with that grandmother. You did not. So they shouldn't cut you off. You are their responsibility. You are entitled to their help. So long as you're a child, they should pay your bills. They should school you. They should take you to the best places because you are not a burden and you matter. So your voice matters, your presence matters, and that's why you are alive. But it's your own personal choice and decision if you want to still have them as your blood or cut them off so that you don't get stuck on stupid. And that's just my word on it.